We need a better PR guy there, Jerry.
What happened?
What happened? I was in my Manicam class,
Oh,
which
how was
was
the class?
it was okay. There was only 10 people there. It's a timing thing. There was Thomas Miller said he was contacted by 17 people that couldn't attend
Dang.
because of
Wow.
timing issues. So we're going to do it again next Wednesday
Cool.
on our regular teacher seminar. So Mr. Isaac J is a busy guy,
Yeah,
showing
super
up
busy.
everywhere. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he must have lots of Zoom installed on his. Okay, so welcome everybody. This will be like a
Okay.
podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
Hi.
cool.
Okay.
Hi, Darcy.
I'd like to welcome all our friends to Culture Class. I call it Culture Club with Boy Jerry. Now you probably don't know who Boy George is. Do you know who Boy George is? Oh, you're lucky. You should go. You should go Google Boy George. Boy George is
Mhm.
he's a Culture Club was a music group in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and it was short lived. Anyhow, so Alexa, office AC off. So okay, it's getting cold in here
Mm.
now. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, there's Mary. Hi,
Oh,
Mary.
hi, Mary.
Mary, you muted your mic again.
Hello,
Now,
guys.
hi.
Hello.
Hello.
So you can join us. We're having a podcast because it's just the three of us.
Oh, you don't
But
think? Look, you don't think anybody else is coming? I love the
well,
culture stuff. It
okay.
helps you in the classroom.
All right. So what are we talking about, Jerry? I can't
Oh,
remember.
we're gonna talk about some the Chinese lucky numbers. I
Oh,
remember
that's right. Yes.
one of our previous topic was the Chinese number as in whole. You know, I talk about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. And then for today, I just want to talk about which one, like lucky, which one's unlucky, kind of thing. And then like from the perspective way in China, like China culture. And then want to share with you guys also that you guys can share with me about, for example, Darcy from she's now in the Indonesia, and we can share he's from his side of view. Was do they have like lucky numbers or numbers that Indonesia, as well for like America too? Do we have that? And then I'm just curious about kind of that like culture. So yeah, okay. So we're gonna first. So I made a PPT, and then I'm gonna share with you guys real quick about um lucky numbers. Can you guys see?
Yep.
All right. In Chinese, because we have a different reading word or characters for 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to the 10. And so this is a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we write like that. And then so this was the Arabic way, like our regular numbers, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. And when we write these, it's usually we is when we have like a receipt with the actual this number where you go in the or you when you go into the bank and to deposit, they will write the Chinese numbers as well as the English the Arabic numbers like
Mm.
that. Yeah,
Those are actually Roman. Arabic
yeah,
numbers are actually
Roman numbers. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thanks for the correction. Yeah. And and yeah, and so like for example, so what are some lucky numbers in China, right? And there's one of these is two, and it's usually like means double or also double, twin, or like again. And why? Because I showed an example of this. This is the Chinese double happiness. You can see a lot of the same figures like this during, especially during the weddings. They have that on the walls of their houses, the building when going inside the house, and then also they will put these double happiness at their ceremonies, where they will rent like a auditorium, and then they can gather all their family members, relatives, friends, and they have a lot of the sign posted when they have the wedding ceremonies. So this is the lucky number, and however, um, two is lucky and unlucky. Two, the good way is double. We like double, like even numbers,
Mhm.
and the unlucky part is when you say R. R mean is like nonsense. Is a kind of like translated as a nonsense. And so if the student say to somebody to the other students, 你很 R, right? You're so nonsense. That means bad. It's not like you're lucky anything. So there is one side lucky and one side not. Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, and it's really interesting because I have one example what happened. I was we're in the Chinese class and we're learning numbers. We're in America, and then so they're saying, oh, R is good, you know. So one of my classmates said, 我很 R. So it's like no, that's like which means is like I'm nonsense. Like well we don't say that. So it's really um a great example, you know. So, what what are you guys saw about this? And I was really curious. Like, do we have a number like that in Indonesia as well as in America?
Well, possibly if it is, I'm unaware of it, but I'm unaware of a lot of things.
Yeah. What about in America though? Because I only have no like
As far
13.
as like positive numbers,
Yeah.
7 is a positive number in America, and as 2 is a positive number. Usually, even numbers is what people pretty much go for in America. Now, they don't want to deal with 13, like the 13th
Yeah.
floor. There's no 13th floor. I don't think there's a 13th floor in the elevators in the United States.
No, usually not. Yeah.
Yeah, they and I thought that was kind of interesting because in China 13 is a positive, right? Isn't it?
13.
13th in China? Oh, I don't know.
Or I thought for some reason I thought maybe the kids or somebody I heard that the number 13 in China was meaning good and positive, and I was like, oh, that's interesting because in America 13 is like
Yeah.
Friday 13. You don't leave your house kind of
But
thing.
yeah, here, like in China, there's usually no 14th floor. There's no 13th floor. There's no
Okay.
fourth floor.
Yeah, I knew about the fourth. Okay, I knew
So
about that.
if you see a building like our building has 32 floors, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really not 32 stories.
Okay.
Now there was not to be political, and I don't want to get in it, but they were talking about Trump Tower. Trump Tower, Donald Trump wanted the tallest building, so he's like on the 68th through the 70th floor of his building, but there's no like 22 through 28. There's no floors. They're just not listed. So his building really is the 68th story is really only the 55th story.
Oh, so what's in between? So what's in
There's
between there?
nothing. They just
It's
eliminate the
just
numbers.
brick, just
They
brick
just don't
and
have the numbers. Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Okay,
So you might have this might be
interesting.
floor 19 and this might be floor 26, but
Got it.
they're right next to each other. They're
Got
just
it.
numbers are just not there,
Interesting.
which is yeah, it's interesting. It
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
it's
Yeah.
pretty logical if you think about
Yeah.
it. Now
Wow.
these are actually Arabic numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people think that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's always been referred to as Arabic numbers. They're not. Okay.
So these
They're
are the
not Arabic.
actual.
These are
Arabic.
this sign, the backwards E.
Yeah.
An E is actually 4. Okay.
Wow.
6 looks like a 7. 7 looks like a Y.
Mm-hmm.
8 looks like an A with no crossbar.
Mm-hmm.
So
So it's interesting, like
get that
yeah. So when I was in China, and then they told me like the two, like this figure is called the Arabic numbers. That's why
Okay.
they're
the way
commonly
they,
referred
like,
to as
yeah, they
Arabic
referred
numbers.
it to the
But yeah, but they actually have something to do with Hindu as well. So
Mm.
yeah.
it's Mary, as an educator, there's a really fascinating book that you'd probably like. It's called Guns, Germs, and Steel.
Okay.
And I have a PDF copy of it.
You do?
Yeah, I do. And it's about knowledge and how knowledge has been generated across the world and at what time. And the questions are why didn't the Incas, why didn't the South American or the Central and South American um, uh, uh, cultures that were so advanced in astrology and a lot of stuff, why didn't they go out and why didn't they look and become discoverers like the West went out and discovered things?
Right.
Why was that? It started out. This guy was in Papua New Guinea, and he thought the guy that was working with him was really, really smart and intuitive because he lived inside nature. Right?
Mm.
There's no barrier in the north. There's a huge barrier between what's indoors and what's outdoors. Right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're down here in the tropics, you don't need a barrier. Houses literally don't have walls. You
Right.
you only need a roof.
Everything's open.
In Bali, a Balinese house is a large fenced courtyard in the back with a pool,
Uh-huh.
and the living area is completely open to the outside.
Uh-huh.
And it takes a lot of getting used to. It's
Yeah.
mindset. But he thought the guy that was down here, and the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. He says, well, if we're so smart, how come you guys have everything? Which was talking to the Northern European, this Papua New Guinea guy who lives in the jungle. If we're so smart, if you think we're so smart, how come you guys have everything? And it got him to thinking, why? Why do we have everything? Chinese till, and I don't have my dynasties down, but till the 1400s, which was when it was built. Okay. Now, China was a very outgoing country. They had armadas of thousands, tens of thousands of boats just to go to India and go to Africa to trade. Okay, but up until the 1400s, then it stopped. China turned inward. Now, China is responsible for some of the major inventions of the world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Paper, 157 BC. Did you realize that paper is that old?
Mm.
And gunpowder, of course.
Yeah, gunpowder, paper.
Mm-hmm. Now, the paper thing blew me away. I will admit that. When one of the lessons was talking about that older kid, and I was blown away. I was like, I didn't know that China discovered paper. I was like,
right.
I was blown away. That was really eye-opening moment for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, was it back then, the China, like, they make the paper, like, it's like, we call it rice paper.
Yeah.
Well, it's made out of anything that has cellulose in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you take, I mean, a good thing in school We did the art girl did in class was made paper because it's quite easy to do. You just take paper and tear it up and shred it. And you just soak it in water until it falls apart.
Mm.
Okay, and that stuff that mush is
Mm-hmm.
cellulose. That's pulp. That's cellulose.
Yeah,
And all
Paul.
you have to
Yeah,
do is
remember
dry
that,
it. All
Paul.
you have to do is dry it on a screen,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes paper again. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why recycling paper is so important because it's
Yeah.
so energy saving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
agree. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Cool.
Okay.
All
Now
right.
lucky
Yeah.
numbers.
All right.
Back to
Lucky
lucky numbers.
numbers. Yeah.
7-Eleven
So
is my lucky number.
7-Eleven.
That's well, it's my birthday.
It is your
Yeah.
Okay.
birthday for real, July 11th?
July 11th is my
Mine is
birthday.
Yeah.
July 8th, Darcy. That's why we like each other. Mine's
7-Eleven.
July 8th. July 8th.
Oh,
Wow.
0708.
yeah. Is that backwards or forwards? It's backwards for me. Is that forwards?
It's
Is
forward.
that pointed in the right direction?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right.
Yes, 7-Eleven. Yes.
Wow.
So
That's
yes,
crazy.
July. So they call me Mr. Crab. I'm a very crabby guy sometimes.
All right.
I don't believe that.
Oh no, I am. I can be really crabby. I use both my left and right side of my brain. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
It keeps you in
Okay.
balance. Mhm.
Yeah, maybe. Smooth.
Yeah. I mean,
So each number has a
six.
meaning. Each number has
Yeah.
a meaning.
Like
Yeah.
yeah. These are the numbers are have the lucky meaning.
Mhm.
For example, 2, and then we're gonna talk about 6. And
Okay.
means 6 means smooth in China. We call it 顺. So um we have this phrase right over here called a 六六大顺, and this is the pinyin. So it's 六六大顺, mean is everything is going super smoothly, like
Mhm.
smooth out. And you can see it during the Chinese New Year's, or people like giving out the hongbao. We call the red envelopes. And for the for the even for the students, for the parents will give them a hongbao like that. That means 六六大顺 on it, which means then for their in the future that everything will go well.
Mhm.
And for studying, for doing other academic curriculum, other activities. They wish that their students, wish that their kids can have a smooth for the whole year. And then they
Mhm.
will give the hongbao. And then for the hongbao is inside is usually the even number, or like 666, 888, or 88. The 6 or 8 numbers are
Mhm.
usually the
Mhm.
the money put inside.
Mm.
And so on the other hand, there's one time I remember on Facebook, one of the teacher commented, there's like the students is telling me 666. So I was like, hey, in I remember in Western culture that 666 is associated with like saying bad stuff, right?
Mhm.
And for in China is the opposite way.
I
So
saw
when
that.
yeah,
Yes.
when the students telling you like 老师, like teacher, 666, that means you are like
Yeah.
awesome, you are super good, like you are like a superstar. So
Mhm.
they use 6 is this in the Chinese hand gestures. So they go like that. Yeah, so it's like telephone, like that.
Uh-huh.
So it's the hand gesture for 6 in Chinese.
You
And
Okay.
do
if
you do
the
that in Compton and you might get
Boy,
shot,
you
right?
crazy.
yeah, see, that's that's interesting, right? If you do that, you get shot. But right here, like in China, it's like doesn't mean you're cool. Like we do
that
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why culture is so important
yeah,
because I would think like just like you said, Darcy, you go to Compton or certain parts of California, whatever, and you do that, man, you're asking
yeah.
for trouble.
So my friend was his when I was in college. His mom and dad lived in Sao Paulo for a year, as he was a liaison for Lockheed Aircraft, and he gave me this a carved fist rosewood that was like this, and it means good luck in Brazil. Okay,
Mhm.
here it means do you want to have sex? And so you have to be really careful. You have to be really careful about what you do.
No,
It's
Darcy,
true.
I didn't know that. Is that what that means?
Well, it means good luck in Brazil,
Right.
but in Indonesia, in Jakarta,
Uh-huh.
not in the U.S. It means do you want to have sex?
Well, I will make sure I don't
Wow.
do that.
Well, well, yeah, as long as you're not in Jakarta.
Yeah. If I come there, I'm gonna make sure I don't do that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Thank you
what
for
are
sharing that.
You wonder why
um
everybody's following you around, right?
Yes.
so what are beside that for that, and then in Chinese culture like that, and United States with that we get like shot. So what are other hand gestures that we use are different,
Peace.
from like that. For this
Yeah.
one in Chinese is like you see a lot of the pictures that Chinese folks do this. They're like this, I like that, and they go do that. You
Mhm.
know, it's mean. Well, this mean is like trying to act cute.
Uh-huh.
Or there's a is a victory. It's like yay.
Now,
Okay.
I want to ask you a question, Jerry, not to
Yeah.
be
Okay.
impolite, and I'm sure you've had this, Mary. I've had young boys, they get up there and they flip you the bird right in the camera.
Mhm.
Now, are they flipping you the bird or does it mean something else?
Oh, the third
Um.
finger. The third finger.
Yeah.
'Cause in
That I
America, that means
think.
something bad in America.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that. Yeah. That's a horrible
But
one.
I mean, I've had children do that to me, and they look just right at the camera and they just go like that.
I think they.
Darcy, I have not had that yet.
Well, just
I think they need to like
you're probably a
screenshot.
better teacher than I am.
I think it's because I'm a woman. I'm a female. That's
I
probably why I
think
haven't had that yet.
I think well I think there is for that thing is there's no I don't think it's from like we don't have like that thing in China.
Okay.
I only had like we it's like we have something like that for bad
Well, yeah, okay, yeah,
or
that's even
but
Italian.
yeah for most
Papandu,
commonly
yeah.
yeah like most commonly thing is yeah the bird thing
Okay.
But that's
and
that's universal. It's not
yeah
like I
it's a
like you, teacher. You're
worldwide
really
thing.
doing well and stuff.
I think the students maybe watch a lot of American dramas, a
And
lot
so
of
they
those
probably
movies.
know what it is by the
Probably
American
know, yeah,
drama.
but they since they can't watch
Okay.
those, they
Yeah.
like know it.
Well,
Yeah,
he was kind of a rough little kid.
yeah.
uh,
Maybe like you can talk to support. I think and
It
ask
doesn't.
them.
If they want to do
Yeah,
that, that's fine.
yeah,
My attitude is they pay me to sit in front of them, and
right.
whatever they want to do, I'm up for it. It's like
Hi,
um,
Mhm,
Susan. Mhm.
mhm.
so I don't turn them in too much.
Yeah.
Okay, now so see in America in English we don't have a nice word for each number, do we? Like six doesn't
Uh,
mean anything, does it?
no, not really. I just know that 3 is supposed to be a good number. 7 is supposed to be a good number, and mostly all the even numbers are just like China 2
Yeah,
double portion.
that's it's that's interesting.
Prosperity.
Even numbers, and
Yeah, yeah, they're
right
pretty
versus
much
left, odd
yes.
versus even. There's
Hmm.
it's all very Judeo-Christian in
Yes,
good and evil.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
it's
what's
all
really a lot in the United States is the good and the whole evil thing. Even in our movies, you see it all the time. The good and the evil, the bad guy and the good guy. That's pretty much, our
well.
culture.
When I was a kid, and I don't know if this was it was unwritten rules in movie making, was the good guy wore a white hat
Yes.
and the bad guy wore a
Well,
black hat.
yes, yes. Hmm.
Okay.
They always
But then,
dressed in
then
black.
Richard Nixon was in office, and they took their hats off, and nobody could tell who was wearing the white hat and who was wearing the
You're
black hat.
funny.
Who's the good guy? I don't know who the good guy is.
I am not a crook. Look, I'm old enough to remember that one.
But the irony is, all the government officials that were prosecuting the Chicago 7 ended up in jail. All the prosecutors ended up in jail.
Yeah.
And the Chicago 7 guys never went to jail.
Yeah.
Go figure. Okay, enough of politics. 7.
Yeah.
It's got to be lucky, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be in America.
7.
It's associated with spiritual stuff. I mean, yeah, everything in America is like Darcy says, is Judeo Christianity, and it's like 7 is good, 3 is good, double portion. I'm trying to think some of the other numbers. Even numbers, of course, are good. 13, no way, no way, no way, no way. It's bad, 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 bad. 13. And that's pretty much it, really. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
I've noticed in China, they talk about good luck a lot. It seems like there's more things associated with good luck than bad luck. To me, okay.
Yeah.
Now, oddly enough, in English, there are more negative pronouns than there are positive pronouns. By a long shot. There's physically more ways to say bad stuff in English than there is to say good stuff in English.
Mm.
Now, why is that? It's so I'm always amused when I talk to Chinese students, whether they be children or even adults. It's always, oh, that's good luck. That's good luck. Everything is about good luck, which I think is great because it shows how optimistic the Chinese culture is.
Oh, I was going to say that too. I think they're very positive.
Well, it's one of the reasons they're 5,000 years old, right? They're the longest contiguous culture in the face of the earth. And one reason is because they like old people, okay? They like old people.
All right.
Which is right up my alley, okay?
Yeah.
My place.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So let's continue. We talk about 2 means double, and we talk about 6 is smooth. And the next one is 8 mean it's prosperity, wealth.
Okay.
So it's this when 8 in pronounced in Chinese is fa, is ba, and then it's kind of similar word to this word we call fa. So which means wealth, like a lot of chicans, like the kings, and so we use this word, and we have a lot of like for example, like this license plate. It's the one of the Beijing license plate. The Jing, this is the symbol for Beijing license plate, and it's the letter, and it's like A0. This license plate is maybe cost a fortune to get that, because Chinese people think that if the license plate didn't want 4, 4 means like dead, like they wouldn't want that number. They either get like a A6. 8, 6,
okay.
or 2, 3, 2 or 3 is okay, but they most want the most of the 8 or 6 for license plate.
So could you sell that license plate? To somebody?
Yeah, if they own it for the license plate and they don't want it anymore, and they can sell the license plate, I think, and then they go to the car, not the car dealership, the one who.
The DMV.
We call the tag agency, right?
Yeah,
they will go there and they want say, I want to customize my license plate to a particular word or particular number, and they will do that, and it will cost a fortune to your own
So
customized.
what's a fortune? I mean, if you wanted an 888
Like
number,
a
what would that cost you?
that I think it was cost maybe um 20,000 yen or
Three
10,000
three grand,
yen.
4 grand,
Yeah, 3 or 4 grand
I was
to
gonna say,
get a
how much is
plate.
that in US dollars?
4 grand.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
So can you sell if I had that if I owned that plate, could I sell that plate to you for 4 grand or 5 grand?
um, let me. I maybe not, cause I'm not sure about that. Cause for my family is that whenever we buy a new car, and then we just keep the same license plate instead of get a new one.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
they will do transfer it too. Cause
Okay,
yeah.
here's a deal. An Indian man paid $9 million in Dubai for his Rolls Royce to get a special license plate on it.
Wow.
Wow.
$9 million.
Yeah. So my question is that
D5 was the license plate.
wow.
Now
Wow.
I'd heard a kid bought D1 Dubai one and paid something like $20 million for it or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Wow.
Wow. Do we have something like that in America or in Indonesia or from Susan's side? I remember that she worked um from Korea. So do you have any like sauce on like the numbers from your
well,
perspective?
you can get personalized plates here, but it's
Mm-hmm.
all just numbers, and there's kind of an unwritten code about like an 8 is a B, and and there's like a 7 is an L or whatever. So, I mean they've kind of got a vernacular, but I never have been purchased one. I don't know what they cost, but
Well,
knowing the place, you can probably spend a lot of money on it.
in
So
America, it's only about a couple $100 for a personalized license plate, and people use numbers like seven, like if they're lucky, they feel their lucky number 777 or 213 or 588, whatever, then they will get the personalized license plate. But typically, our license plates is numbers and letters. And so, but when people personalize them, they just like this, they will get numbers if they feel that's their lucky number, or they'll get like a name or their daughter's name, or maybe their mom died, or they'll get the mom's name, whatever. But yeah, personalized license plate is huge here, and they
and
do do
they're
the
not they're
numbers.
not really cheap, are they? I mean,
No,
they're
they're like a couple $100. Yeah.
For customized one?
But customized one, yes. I think the other
Wow.
ones are like 100 and some dollars, and I think it's you can get them for a year or 2 years, something like that.
What happened after they expire? Do
You
they
just
get a new
renew
one?
it. Yeah, no, well, you just renew it.
Because
You
you
just
know,
pay the fee or whatever that fee is, and you can keep it for life. I mean, as long as you want to, as long as you want to keep it, you can keep it.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem with personalized license plate in America is that when you go somewhere, once people learn your tag, they know where you are all the time. So that's the problem. My boyfriend had personalized plates, and he got rid of them because
well,
so one he was with his daughter, and somebody was like, "Oh, I saw your friend, blah blah blah," and he was like, "That was my daughter. That was my daughter." So he said after that he got rid of the personalized tag.
that's true. I have
People
a
always tell me
Toyota product here. It's a kind of a SUV, and I used to drive a lot between cities, and it's the roads here are very hard to drive on. So eight I put 8 driving lights on the front bumper of my car on this rack that I built, and it was so distinctive looking that everybody knew it was me. Right?
that.
And they go, "Oh, I saw you in Simrong, or I saw you over there, or I saw you there. What are you doing there? What are you doing there?" So I took them off because it
Yes.
was you lose your anonymity. It's kind of like using the posting about your location on Facebook?
Yes.
Why do people do that? I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
Uh,
I
it's
don't
like
want
you
to
branded,
announce.
you brand yourself, you put yourself out there. People always know where you are. So that's why
Right.
he had to get rid of it because he got accused of talking to someone, but it was his daughter. You know what I mean? So,
Well, you know,
yeah.
cars in the future will be like airplanes are now, and instead of having a license plate, they're going to have an electronic transponder, which will broadcast the information about who's in the, who the car belongs to. So you'll always know where somebody is.
ooh, not looking
Yeah.
forward to that day. No.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then also I found one of the interesting fact about the China Olympics on 2008, and is that in Chinese culture that we use this number eight a lot. So and even they contributed to the Olympic
Mm,
that on 2008. So what so they did it was that at the it was from 2008, and then they start exactly like 8 o'clock, 8 minutes, and then the eighth day
oh,
of the
wow.
8 months. So pretty much it's like eight, 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 eight. So
Mm-hmm.
represent that for the Olympics will a lot of people will show up, and then also is will be a um smooth running for the Olympics. So that's why they was eight, 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 eight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a really interesting fun fact because I found. Yeah, for the number thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and after talk about eight, now is nine. Nine is Jiu, and it also is the same pronunciation. This word as Jiu. That means everlasting.
Mm.
And for in the Chinese culture that I think we believe from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, the single digits. The nine is the biggest, well, the number from the single digits,
Mm.
and Jiu is also pronounced as everlasting. So, another fun fact: if we from the Forbidden City, and they have 9999 rooms in the
Mm.
Forbidden City. So,
Mm.
which mean is the Forbidden City have um a long um long lasting what like a how do you say that well I
Long
mean
lesson
it's
live.
like yeah long lasting life, and they have like they was there like forever, like
Mm.
in the I think it was in during that area that time, a lot of emperors want like a lot of Joe. And
Mm.
to how is one of the interesting fact to for Forbidden City how to identify which building was important. So you can like this might be a tiny picture though. So what I'm saying is that on top of these right here, they
Mm.
have little I think it was little dragons looking things. They will line up. If they have like the dragons line about like 4, 5, or 9 of those, which represents the most important building for it. And you
Mm.
can see for other buildings like those low ones, they have like only 3 or 4 of those. Yeah, that was super interesting when I was in the Forbidden City. I was like, why is that? So they told me was like, hey, yeah, this is how they use those little dragon on the roof to identify which had the high level, high tier the building for it.
Mm.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, so my question is that do they have it like in America, a similar like that, or in Indonesia as well? In was in Korea from Susan's side. Yeah.
Darcy, you go first. Let me think about that one for a minute.
Yeah.
Or like this, like even phone numbers.
Mm.
That like do we use like a phone number to represent it, or like license plate, or like a like thing like similar to the Forbidden City?
Mm.
Well, yeah. Just I don't know about the meaning, but in general, Indonesians like multiple numbers. They like things that are easy to, you know, they like things that are unique, I guess, would be the only kind of way to put it. I don't know that they have underlying meaning in it, but, you know, it's like, I think Greater Jakarta is 40 million people, and it's hard to stand out, right?
Mhm.
So, but personalized plates are not the norm here by any stretch of the imagination. You might get low digits are probably, you know, like a B plate is a Jakarta plate. And if you get like a B under 10 would be, you know, you'd probably have to pay huge money to have a plate that was under the number 10, just a single digit plate. Because most plates now are, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 digits.
Right.
They're getting to be like phone numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the way I lived in Washington State, and it was alphanumeric, and they actually ran out of they had to start different alphanumerics in some areas because they ran out of combinations, which is a lot of license plates if you take permutations.
Well, that's what had started
Permutations.
happening in the United States with the phone numbers. You know, with the
Right.
phone numbers, they had the same issue with the phone numbers as well. They started running out of numbers.
Right.
And,
but they just add digits, right?
Yeah, they started adding digits to it.
Yeah, I think an Indonesian hand phone number here now is maybe 12 digits.
Oh, okay.
How many digits in United States now?
4, 3, so 4, 3, 7, 10. So it's 4,
10.
3, 7, 10. Yeah, 10 digits right now plus 1.
So,
if it's out of the country, it would be 1. So that's 11.
Yeah.
11.
But it's logical to me. It's 3 number area code, right?
Yep.
3 number prefix.
Yes.
And then a 4 number.
Your base.
Number.
4.
Yeah.
So you have to dial the area code.
Yes, you do have. Well, you didn't see. This is the thing. Back in the day, you didn't have to dial the area code, but they started running out of numbers. So now you have to dial the area code plus the the regular 7-digit number. But before, I don't know, maybe like 12 years ago or so, you just only had to dial the 7 numbers and that was it. But after a while, they started running out of numbers, so now you got to dial all 10.
Yeah, in Washington State, the Western Washington, there was only 2 area codes in the state, Eastern and Western Washington.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And now Western Washington is divided into several area codes, north, middle, south, and I believe Seattle probably has its own area code. So right, but how many phones are there? You know, I mean, how many hand phones are there? How many cell phones? There's hundreds of millions of these things out there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people change their numbers all the time too, Jerry. That's the other thing too. People change their phone numbers all the time, but they recycle these numbers. They recycle these numbers. Like for example, if Darcy got rid of his number, and I decided for whatever reason I wanted another phone number, they would give me Darcy's number, and then Darcy's friends are calling me because they don't know Darcy no longer have that number.
You won't get any calls if you get my number. Nobody calls.
Yeah.
I've had the same phone number since I got this phone number in '97.
Oh, okay.
And I've not changed it. Now, I know people that can't have a phone number for longer than
a week. My brother's like that. Every time I call him, like, nuts. Dude, what's up? I mean, who are you running from? Your girl?
Yeah, right.
Are you changing girlfriends all the time? What's up? I change his phone number every time I turn around.
Would that be like a culture perspective in America? Like
yes.
A lot of people change their phone numbers.
Yes.
I don't know why. Why do they do that?
Yes. For many reasons. One reason is, there's several reasons. One reason you moved. So that's one reason, legitimate reason you moved, you changed your phone number. Now that's the way it used to be, but now, the
Yeah,
way technology is, you don't have to change your phone number. You
my
can move and you don't have to change your phone number now.
right. My sister moved from California to Washington, and she never changed her phone
You
number.
don't have to, but used to when you moved, you changed your
Yeah,
phone number, but not
yeah.
anymore. Now, I can be in North Carolina and live in North Carolina, which I have relatives that live down there now. They have the same number that they had up here. So you don't have to change your phone number anymore. But people change their phone numbers, like I said, because of move. The second reason they change their phone numbers is a culture thing. If you trying to get rid of somebody, you're trying to take a old boyfriend or old girlfriend, because I did it. There was a back in the day, I had a number for a really long time, and I was like, okay, this is you are not calling me, so I changed my phone number so I could.
Can't you just block it?
Well, remember back then they didn't have the block thing going on back in
Oh,
the
okay.
day. But now you don't have to change your phone number because you can block people now. You got caller ID, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
So now I've had the same phone number for a long time.
Wow. Cool. All right. So we talk about the lucky side, the numbers, and
Mhm.
there's one thing that in the Chinese culture, I think 4 is the unlucky part. It's like
That's
compare. I think
interesting.
yeah, and 4 is we call in pronunciation for number is called 四, and it's a kind of same pronunciation as s. It's the tone, as long as the tone difference between. So
Mhm.
s means like death, or
Wow.
so that is. I think it was like a similar comparison as the 13,
Si,
like that
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Mhm.
四.
san,
So
si, wu.
yeah, 三四五 3 4 5.
Now,
and
can you count, Mary, in Chinese?
No, not yet.
I would
The kids
highly
are teaching
recommend
me though. The kids
highly
are working
recommend
with
you
me.
learning to count to 10. Okay, it wins big time with the kids. Big time.
They're,
oh,
look, they're
Okay.
teaching me how to speak Chinese. I have 4 girls who I love dearly, and I just got these girls again, and I think I've had them like 2 or 3 times now. But anyway, now they're teaching me Chinese. So we have a deal. So I'm learning Chinese, how to count and some words in Chinese. So I've been teaching them for a long time now. So now I have to, they say, oh, teacher, we teach you Chinese. Okay. So I'm submitting to them. So I'm learning
yeah.
Chinese now from my kids.
Well, in one of your tabs, you keep Google Translate open.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep up with them pretty good. And I had it wired at one time such that when you played it, they could hear the Google Translate play through Manicam. They could hear it, and so it's quite interesting. And if you're quick at doing it, they don't know that you don't know the words. But if you can count to 10 and say just a couple of basic things, they get pretty impressed
Well, when they
and
came back from the vacation, I asked them
and
about
learn
the
learn
the
all this
home
stuff.
booth. I asked them about that. What is it? Home Dao.
The home bow, the
Home
red
bow.
envelope,
I
the home
asked
bow.
them how many of them got the home bow. They was, oh, teacher, you know about the home bow? You know about the home bow? Oh, teacher, I said, well, how many of you guys got the home bow? I learned that from the
Yeah.
culture session with Jerry.
Yay! Yeah.
Yes, I asked them about
That's
that when they got back from New Year. Yeah.
well, that's exactly what this thing's for. It's
Yeah,
for us to pick up little
yeah,
tiny bits of culture
Yeah.
like
so we can give it back to the kids, and they think
Yeah.
we're
yeah,
cool. Right?
yeah, definitely. And yeah, and then you can see one example for in the China elevators, and so we don't have like a fourth floor. So instead of a 4, we do a 3A.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can see right here is that's one of the examples in the
Interesting.
China. Like I think it was kind of like a thing for in America that we don't have a 13th floor, right? For it
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and and we do care when we sign up for phone numbers on our license plate and elevator buttons, of course, and we try to avoid the number 4. So for
Got it.
in my China phone, Chinese phone, I start the phone number was 186.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a good start. And then we usually don't like end up the last number 4
Got it.
as same as place number.
Can there be no four anywhere in the number?
Yeah, and yeah, they when they get a phone number thing, they will let you choose which one do you want.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
the most they will generate the phone number with a 4 in it too. But those are the one that people do not want, you know.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
then we usually get a lot of eights, a lot of 6, and then the 3, and as well as yeah, like 7s, but not 4. Same
Got it.
as the license plate too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like that's I find out interesting because when I signed up for the phone numbers, and then I was like, can I get that? And my parents said, no, 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 that's bad for you. You have the 4 inside, you know. And then I was like, okay. So they want to choose like, how about I started the phone number is 186, and
Oh,
then
okay.
I end up my last digit was a 9.
Okay. Got it.
So 9 we talk about is everlasting, right? That's a good
Mm-hmm.
meaning
Mm-hmm.
behind the 9. But my last digit was a 9. Because outside they were like, okay, use that one. That one good for you.
Okay.
That's my what my like parents said that. Yeah. And do we have some like similar thing like that in the America like culture, or just like it's okay to pick up like the numbers for it?
Oh
The
yeah, we're superstitious in America. Yeah. I mean, even with down to like the black cat thing and all of that. I don't,
yeah.
Jerry probably doesn't know. Do you know about that, Jerry? About
Yeah,
the black
because
cat
I
thing?
I
Yeah,
remember
man, we're superstitious.
that I was in high school, and I had physiology class, and for one of the sessions is that I had to decide the cat, and then
Really?
the teacher threw us a black cat to us. I was like, oh no, I was like, what? And then we had to like use the razor to like get rid of the skin. Like we had to do
So
Oh
like
they give you a
skin.
wow.
dead cats.
Yeah, they gave us like a dead cat, but the other cats were like different color,
OMG.
but ours was the black one. And and then our team was like our team. So the teacher didn't like pass the cat to me. It's like because we're on the front seats, right? And then the teacher just threw it at me. I was like, here you go. I was like, oh, yeah, it
So
was really funny.
did you all wear like hooded
Yeah, we had
clothes with
to
the pentagram on the floor and
wear,
stuff? And
yeah, because I
Wow.
remember we had to wear apron, and then we got to get the goggles, and then we
Mm-hmm.
used the latex gloves. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to. We're learning like their muscles. We're learning like their like the heart
Wow.
system, and then their digestive system, like
wow,
one each. Yeah. So it was
Wow.
really interesting though. Like
I'm
yeah,
I'm
I
glad
had
I
that
took
experience.
music.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I was like, let's, because last time it's
Uh,
really different. It's because when I was there, we decided a cat, but the next semester they decided like a frog or something. It's
Yeah.
very
Mm-hmm.
Right.
different.
Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah,
frogs.
Yeah.
yeah, and then so our was I think it was cool experience. Where I learned it and stuff. Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, I think that's one of the that I experienced like black cat thing. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh no, and also, I remember my friend in America. They told me that about the crow. Like, was there something bad about the crow too?
Yeah. That's a
Like
superstitious thing also too.
they're saying like you can they show up for the cemetery stuff. Like a lot of the crows. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's one time I remember I was at Walmart and in the parking lot they had a lot of the crow showing up. I was like,
Right.
is it be a bad day today to shopping to go some grocery? You know, I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, so America, we are very somewhat superstitious, and as far as numbers are concerned,
Hmm.
um, yeah, like when I was choosing my phone number, there were certain numbers I didn't, I wanted in my number, which was like 7, and I wanted 3.
Hmm.
Like my number now is 301. That's, I don't think there's any for. Oh, I only have 1 4 in there. There was 1 4. But here in the United States, 4 doesn't mean anything to us. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a bad number, but
Right.
there were certain numbers that I really wanted. That was like 3 and 7 because I have a 7 in my number. That's
Hmm.
good. That's
Hmm.
prosperity also. And like you, the 9 means complete, and then 8 is grace. So yeah, there's certain numbers I wanted in my phone number.
Ooh, interesting.
Hmm I
All
believe
right.
in the power of numbers. I
Uh,
I
I
I
do.
liked
see.
mine. I like mine because
Yeah.
1905. I could. It's like a date. 1905. So
Yeah, I
Wow.
like
That's
that. Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
too.
yeah,
it
yeah,
was easy to
Yeah.
remember. When
yeah.
I grew up, our phone number was 4496, which was easy to remember. You know,
Yeah.
as a kid, 4496.
4 4 9 7.
Uh-huh.
It is easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So for the last one, what like we have some numbers and represents what it means. So these are some of the numbers that we use during the conversation. We're like texting either at WeChat, WeChatting each other, or
I lost you, Jerry.
You still there, Jerry?
Jerry, if you were a teacher, Jerry, you'd be fined money. You'd be kicked out.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
my page would be locked. You'd be in big trouble with me, buddy. Where's your backup? You're supposed to have backup internet.
Darcy, you are bad.
I am, but it's
You're
true,
so
right?
bad. Oh, he's
See,
probably
he
trying to
quit.
figure out how to get back in here.
Yeah. Teacher, where are you, teacher?
Yeah, that sounds like
Teacher,
the kids. Ah, what you doing?
teacher.
Oh, you are
The hour must be
hilarious.
up. I guess his meter ran out.
Is it almost 9?
Yeah, it
Maybe
is.
10? It's almost 10. Well, it's
Okay,
only
you're
3.
in
Okay,
big
uh,
Chris.
trouble, mister. You're in
Here
big
you are.
trouble, mister.
what? I
You're
got
supposed
locked
to have
out.
a you're supposed to have a backup.
I don't
Tell him what you
know.
said, Jerry. Tell him. He
Yeah,
said,
what
you're going to
happened?
be fined.
Oh
You're going to be
Your
fined
no.
your my
$16,
page your my
Jerry.
page is blocked. It's locked. You cannot. You have to go see a.
Oh,
You have to see a.
what's the point?
I told Darcy, you're bad.
All right. So yeah, dude, to talk about this. So what are some of the common things that we use during the conversation, or example like text message? And first one is warning, and that means why ni. This means I love you. And if you see that, that's a good one. And then for A means baba, or in Chinese, it's like bye bye. So we use that, or when we in for a like conversation. Because I remember when I was little, like me and my friend, we type this at the end. And so for this one, so AA Baba Liu and AA6 means instead of they have so instead of saying bye bye, with Liu is bye bye Liu, like so he's like see ya, and in
Mm,
China, yeah. And another one is 1314, means well literally is one life, one world.
mm,
But if you add warning, so whiny, 1314 means I love you forever. So 一生一世 is means 一生一世. So is I mean forever. So 我爱你一生一世 is I love you forever.
Mm.
And for 555, either it represents it's like woo like that. So
Isn't
it's
that
more
Arsenio Hall, right? Arsenio Hall. Woo, 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 woo.
it's like woo.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also either is that meaning or also woo is meaning me.
Oh, crap.
So
Okay.
woo
Me.
represents like me. Whoa.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah,
So
that's
okay.
good.
Okay.
yeah. So you can see like 5 right here is means it represents this character. 5 is equal wall. So either is crying or is whoa. It depends on the conversation that they were talking about. Yeah.
Woo.
And
The big
yeah, like woo. Yeah. And do
Okay.
we have any something like that in the American culture or in the Indonesian culture or from the Korean culture? Something like that. Yeah.
Not
That would
off
be
the
my
top of my
final question.
head. I don't think like a series of numbers. I'm trying off the top of my head. Darcy, you go first about that, but I
woo,
don't
woo,
think
woo.
so.
Yeah,
You
I don't know. I don't know that there's a, you know, I'm sure, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to kind of pin some of the Chinese guys down there around here, but oddly enough, you know, they're, a lot of the Chinese guys don't even speak Chinese. You know, they're Chinese by ancestry, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not particularly Chinese by culture anymore.
Mm.
Um, maybe a third of the population here is Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
and
interesting.
so I there's a kid down the hallway, and I was trying to, I had a trouble with QQ at one time, and it was all in Chinese, and this was when it was just like, it was just a mess because they installed some Chinese programs. It wasn't malicious, but you didn't know what it was saying, right? And you couldn't. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
how to control it, and I wanted to get him to delete it, but he couldn't read Chinese.
Mm.
So I got one of my students to do it for me.
Mm.
We did it in class, and it
Wow.
worked. So, no, I don't know. Um, I'm gonna find out though. It's interesting.
All
Mm.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is very
I
interesting.
took a screenshot of this. This is interesting.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing too. I've been
Ah,
screenshotting one of
Sean.
them. I was like, oh,
All
let me
right.
screenshot this one too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. And thank you guys for
Great
coming to the
job.
Chinese culture chat.
Great job,
And
Jerry.
Now,
then, yeah, good
Mary,
job for all
Mary
you
and
guys.
Susan, if anybody has any suggestions about what you would like to talk about, we are here for you. So can you think of another topic that you might want to discuss in some other meeting? Now, I'm not trying to get you to run it. I just want you to, we'll handle all that. But if there's something that's of interest to you, we'll certainly investigate that.
Okay. Cool.
So,
All right. Absolutely. I'll
All
reach
right.
out to you.
you know, but
Yeah.
learning, you know, like living in a foreign culture for a long time. And I've traveled to China, and I spent some time learning a little bit how to count and some of the days of the week and stuff like that when I went over the first time. And one of the largest compliments or investments you can make in communicating with somebody else in a different culture is learning a little bit of their language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It goes a long way. They really respect you for it.
Okay.
And you know, I try to instill in my, especially like my older students that don't have confidence in their English skills, especially like if they're in business and stuff. I say, let me ask you a question. Does the person that you're talking to speak Chinese? And they go, no. I says, well, then you speak two languages. You're in the superior position in this relationship. So behave like it, because you can speak English and you can speak Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
You've taken the trouble to learn their language, they will help you if you make a mistake. I guarantee it. There's not a problem, okay? Because most people's confidence levels are quite low because they don't have any positive feedback. They got nobody to talk to.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's fun can I say this real quick? I'm glad you said that because I have a young man, well, a man, businessman. I got him maybe like a month ago, and what you said is so true. He books me like 4 times a week now because in our sessions, all we do is just sit and talk, and he watches my mouth as I'm talking, and he said it helps him to learn the English language. So he books me specifically every 4 times a week just to talk English because he wants to be able to use the language instead of just learning to read it. But he needs an English speaking person. So we sit there
Right.
for what, 25 minutes, half an hour, whatever. And then my last class with him, guess what? That last class, we go over the lesson and everything, but we talk about that lesson for an hour. So that last class, I usually don't have
Sure.
anybody after him anyway, because he books me usually my last slots. He usually books me. So I just sit there for the other half an hour and ask him questions, you know what I mean? Give him homework and things like that. And he's been booking me like 4 times a week. And I asked him finally the other day, I said, this is the 4th time. He was like, I need somebody I can talk English. So he went on a business trip and came back and booked me as soon as he got back and to tell me about the business trip. We just sat there and talked about the business trip. And of course we did the lesson. Yeah. But what you say is true. They're looking, speaking the English language is important. And some of my business people are actually booking me for that, just to conversate.
Right. And you might impress upon them in a business situation. Listening is probably a more important skill for them than speaking. Because for them to understand what's going on is the first thing that they need to do. If they don't understand, they can't talk about it.
Right.
Okay.
That is established.
Even with students that are taking IELTS, you know, I impress upon them that they do not overlook their listening skills, because you know, the old saying, why does God give you 2 ears and 1 mouth? Well, you're going to be listening to the teacher all day long. I have one of my big success stories. I've got this just wonderful lady girl that's in Paris right now. I met her in graduate school in law in Shanghai, and she's always worried about everything. You know, I'm not going to do it. I'm not. And she got an internship in Beijing. Then she got a grant from the Chinese government to take a second master's degree in international trade in Paris, and she had to become a C1 speaker in French in 9 months. Okay, at the Beijing Language Institute. And now she's in Beijing, or she's in Paris now. And I said, how's the listening going? You know, because she goes, yeah, you're right. You know, listening's really hard because it's overlooked, because we're a speaking 5-1 talk. It's not 5-1 listen. But in order to speak, you have to listen first.
Yeah.
And that's why.
All right, thank you guys for coming.
Gary,
and I see.
Gotta go somewhere. Gotta go.
Yeah, I have another one coming up.
I'm free all day. I'm free all day.
Oh, all right.
He's looking at the clock. Bye, guys.
All right, have a good one.
Hey, let the record be noted that Jerry's calling this quits. I want to continue.
Look, I'm like, Jerry, I'll see you later.